Alright, so the, the part you're going to need for to build your fight stick or your fight desk, whatever you're going to build, you're going to need obviously your parts. So you're going to need a PCB or some type of fight pad, or your PlayStation 4 motherboard pad or whatever. And this one is a Fight Commander 4 from Hori. It's a really good board to use because it's common ground and it's really easy to wire up, and it's PlayStation 4 ready, which is really important. So you don't have to do legacy controller hookups or whatever. A lot of people use these in their old fight sticks to get those ready, so you can be PlayStation 4 ready. So you're going to need some type of PCB, and this one is a Fight Commander 4. You're going to need your wires, obviously, to connect your buttons to. These are all the button wires for the buttons, but I'm also going to, instead of using, I don't want to do a bunch of soldering. I want to be, do as little soldering as possible. I'm only going to use these for like the positives on the board itself, and I'm just going to daisy chain. This is a daisy chain connector right here, so you can connect to each button, so you don't have to put two solders per button. You're just gonna solder one per button and then use this to chain all the negatives, the grounds I should say, together, which make the job faster. You're obviously going to need a joystick. This is obviously a Sanwa, a Japanese one. So this is one I like using. I think they're the best in the market, so I like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I use. Obviously you're going to need your buttons and your ball top or bat top. These are the buttons actually from my Chun-Li TE stick, the Mad Cats that I took out. So they're still brand new. They're barely used, so I figured why buy all new buttons when I can utilize the buttons that I already have. You don't need that many tools. You're going to need some type of scraper, because on the Fight Commander there's see these little blackness right there that's covering the actual connector, and in order to solder onto the board, you're going to have to scrape that off so it can get onto some metal or on the board. As you can see, I don't know if you could see, I already started scraping some off to test it out. Like right here, I scraped that. That's the PlayStation button right there, so you only need to scrape just a little bit on the actual kicks and the punches, the little circle. So scrape that off. This is like the turbo button if you're going to want to use turbo. But yeah, so that's the options button, share button, PlayStation, turbo, 3 punches, 3 kicks. Alright, so I just got done soldering all the wires on. It was really hard because I'm super shaky, so I had to get the solder onto the wire itself, then solder that wire onto the board, which was, I'm not gonna lie, it was harder than I thought, especially it being my first time soldering. But so here's what it looks like right here. 3 punches right there. Let me show you. 3 punches right there, 3 kicks. That's share, option, PlayStation, and turbo, if you want to use turbo. But so yeah, it's all soldered on. I'm gonna test everything out and make sure all the buttons work, and we'll go from there. First thing I did was I drilled the hole for the buttons with a spade bit. Now it's hard to find a 1 3/16 size bit, so I had to go with a 1 1/8, and to make the buttons fit in there, I have to Dremel the hole a little bit. So, which is nice because it makes it really nice and smooth anyway. So wasn't too bad. It's just a standard bit to get the holes right, but then you have to Dremel it. Unless you can find a 1 3/16 bit, that's for the 30mm buttons. 15/16 is for the 24 millimeter buttons. Done. So remember, you want to drill these out with you could use a circular bit or a spaded bit, and you want to get a 15/16 for the 24 millimeter holes, and for the because this is 24 millimeter for the joystick, and then if you the proper size bit for this is a 1 3/16, but that's a very hard bit to find. So you want to go with the smaller, one size smaller, which is 1 1/8, and then you're going to need to use a Dremel tool to widen the hole just a little bit for the buttons when you're making your stick. So I'm going to drill the holes here for the joystick, and then I'll wrap the top first in black, just the middle part right here. I'll add all the buttons. I'll show you the internals, and we'll see how the stick turns out. Alright, so I got the fight stick done, and I'm really stoked about how it came out. And let's take a look at it here. So it's the oak box, really thick. I got it at Value Village for $6.99, which is a steal. And I wrapped the face again with black matte to give it a different look. I didn't want it all to be wood. I'm not worried about all the scrapes and the marks. It looks like an old used wooden box, which looks awesome. I cut the hole in the back for the wire right there, and I was able to utilize some of the wood that I had cut out for one of the 24 millimeter buttons up top. I was able to utilize that plug. I split it in half, and I glued it back together as I put it in here, so the wire looks a little cleaner that way. I got zip tie on there on both sides so the wire doesn't pull. So let's take a look inside. Everything's daisy chained. All the negative or the ground is daisy chained to one thing, and it's to the joystick's ground on the, I don't know if you can see it right there, but everything's soldered onto the Fight Commander 4 controller PCB, and still utilizing the square gate as well. I got a what you call it in here. I got a Cole 1 millimeter actuator in there for better response, as well as a 2-pound spring to make the stick a little stiffer. So everything came out awesome. I'm really stoked. I'm only using the 3 buttons here. I got the 3 punch 3 kick, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's jab, there's strong, there's fierce, there's short kick, there's forward kick, there's roundhouse. Here's the joystick, everything works. PlayStation button, and this is the turbo button. If you want to use turbo, let me show you a quick thing. Just like the Fight Commander, you hold it down once and you press the button you want turbo. Now you see you hold it, it's turbo the entire time. You want to keep constant, which doesn't make sense for this game, but if you wanted to do something like you're training and you needed some turbo function or something, you could do that, and then turn it off, you hold it down again, you press it again. So everything came out great. You know, this build costs just a little bit over 80 bucks. Luckily for me, I already had all the buttons and the ball top from my Chun-Li stick, so I didn't have to go out and buy buttons, and I already owned the Hori Fight Commander 4. I already had that, and that only cost me $29 earlier this year off Amazon. So all I had to do was buy the wiring and the joystick. The joystick only cost $19.99, which is a Sanwa joystick, and the wiring only cost like I don't know, it was like $12 for the entire wiring kit, the daisy chain and all the wires for the punches and stuff. So right now I'm not gonna be able to utilize the option, the share button, but I will probably put 2 more buttons up here in the future so I can have all 4 buttons up at the top. So I'm really happy the way it came out. It looks great. It's going to work really good. And you guys too can also make your own customized fight stick. You know, you want to get all the best parts you can get, but you know, save as much money as you can, because it's not cheap. All the high-end fight sticks cost $200 and up, and not anyone can just afford that, nor can their parents want to spend that type of money for just to play Street Fighter and a couple other fighting games. So if you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be posting some Street Fighter gameplay here in the future. If you want to do some sets with me, you can look me up on PlayStation Network. My name on there is Rightly Guided. I don't know if you guys can see that. And maybe we can play some sets.